Shalom, shalom, this is Brother Amar Rakar, back with another lesson, giving all praises, honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakar, Badash. And as always, double honors goes out to the apostles and the elders and the bishops of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the elect and to the great multitude destined for salvation, man. You know, peace and blessings to the elect and pushing this world in truth and sincerity. So yeah, man, this is going to be, I don't know, it might be brief, I don't know, but it's going to be just about just feeding the flock, man. You know, it's a duty, and you know, it's our job. That's what we do as prophets. And you know, sometimes you might not be doing enough, and I know I'm guilty of that. But it's our job, man. So you know, we've got to do it to the best of our abilities, man. Just do the best we can, because you know, we're not out there trying to, you know, make the elect or establish the elect. We're just calling out, you know. The elect will be established through the Spirit. So we're just filling in, you know, we're just playing our part, so to speak, you know. We're just playing our part. And, you know, I'm just going to go into some scriptures just to show that, you know, it is, you know, this is part of the mission, man. You know, that's why the scriptures say, you know, to bid them to the marriage, man. Go out to the highways and the hedges, man, because those in the churches, they're reaching out to the same people. They've already got their flock. They're not gaining any new. They're not gaining any new. How do I want to say cattle? Sheep. That would be a better way of putting it. They're not bringing any more sheep into the flock, man. It's not often that someone walks past the church and decides to go in and listen to what they got to say. That's why you got to be out there, right? And I want to start off with this. It says prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophecy against the shepherds of Israel, right? And it says, and this is Ezekiel 34:1. So like Ezekiel 34:1, it says, and the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophesy and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord Yahweh unto the shepherds, Woe, meaning destruction, be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flocks? You know, like, you know, certain groups only like to go out in the summertime. Winter time, you don't really see them out there on the streets. You know, that's not doing the work. You know, and even if you want to really get into it, talking about, you could go out there every day of the week and be talking about what you want to talk about. But if you ain't talking about the prophecies, man, if you ain't talking about the MOTB and Jacob's Trouble and World War III and that, you're not feeding the flock once again. You're starving the flock, because this is the knowledge that they need. They don't just need to hear that they're Israelites and Esau is the so-called white man and he's the devil and all of that stuff, and going on about slavery and what we're going to do to the Edomites and blah blah blah. You know, it's about the prophecies, man. You know, it's about the prophecies. Let me open up another tab while I'm just talking, and another one. You know, so let's read on. It says, ye eat the fat and ye clothe you with the wool. Ye kill them that are fed, but ye feed not the flock. the diseased ye have not strengthened, neither have ye healed that which was sick. So, what the sick is those that are not in this truth, man, that don't have the understanding, right? Because when you're out there, you could be out there one time, one day at camp, and you're talking, you're bringing out this precept, and someone walks past, and they don't really engage with you, but they might have heard something that triggers, their search for the truth. They might go home, put on the YouTube and see something, or they might come back another time, or they might, you don't know you don't know how it's gonna go down. Basically, you don't know how you're affecting people when you're out there speaking. So it's not about people coming up and you telling them this, that, and the other, man. Because, what did Yahushua say? He said, my sheep hear my voice, man. And actually, while I'm still in this one, let me get something else. In Ezekiel 2. What am I doing? First, I must say, I start from the top, man. So it says Ezekiel's commission. This is his job, what he's supposed to be doing, like the same for us. So Ezekiel 3:1 says, moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest, eat this roll, and go speak unto the house of Israel. Right? So, when we came into this truth, every brother, spent a bit of time reading the precepts, man. Going over the precepts, precept upon precept, line upon line, learning and understanding. When I say learning and understanding, learning from our teachers, our apostles and elders, man, whilst we're reading. Right, so we're getting the knowledge, we're getting the understanding, because you can't read the scriptures and get the full understanding without someone teach you. Right, as the scripture says that too, man. Right, and then what you do, you go out after you learn what you learn, you go out and you teach it, and it's a cycle, man. Right. The role represents the scriptures, man. It says, eat this roll and go speak unto the house of Israel, meaning go out onto the highways, man, and tell them about this. It's your duty, whether they're going to listen or not, it's your duty. Right? So it says, so I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. And I did eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. Yeah, man, because once you read the precepts in that, once you read the Bible, man, our book, once you read it and get the understandings, it's sweet, man. You know you're an Israelite. Now you know who your enemy is. Now you know the past, the present, and the future. Right? And not only that, when everything lines up in that, it's a really good thing, man. It's pleasurable. Right? So it's at the beginning, it's sweet. But to be fair, it doesn't actually stay that way, because then it comes, the trials and the tribulations that come alongside being a man, in this truth, a man of the Lord, man. It says, verse 4 says, and he said unto me, Son of man, go, get thee unto the house of Israel, and speak my words unto them. For thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech, and of an hard language, but to the house of Israel. So that's a cut right there for all of those keep talking about, the Lord is dealing with everyone, man. That's a command to be telling our people, man. That's it. Not to many people of a strange speech and of a hard language, whose words thou canst not understand. Surely I had sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee. Yeah, you see, saying if you went up to the other nations and told them, well, yeah, if you went to the Edomites and said, you know what, the Most High is dealing with you, you're the special people, they'd like that, man, because they already believe that. And it's going to tell you why. Verse 7 says, but the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted. Behold, I have made thy face strong against their faces, and thy forehead strong against their foreheads. Right? So we don't give a shit, basically. They can't come up against us. We can take all their dish and that, man. Right? Verse 9 says, as an adamant harder than flint, I have made thy forehead. Fear them not, neither be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. Yeah, man, because sometimes, especially in the early days, it was challenging, man. Going places where people were, and they hated us, man. You know, out of all the people, it was them that always hated us the most. All the other people, the other nations, they just ignored us, man. But you see, this truth resonates with them. It cuts their spirit, man. You know, it cuts their it cuts them to the bone, man. Because really, they know that this is for them, man. I'm just thinking about something else now I said that. Yeah. Let's select it. I'm just trying to search something on my phone real quick. Anyway. Where was I? So yeah, select verse 10 says, moreover he said unto me, Son of man, all my words that I shall speak unto thee, receive in thine heart and hear with thine ears. Meaning, you know, our minds, man. You know, receive it into our minds. And go get thee to them of the captivity, right? Our people. It says, unto the children of thy people, and speak unto them, and tell them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. So, you know, the Lord knew, man, that obviously most of them weren't going to listen. It says, then the Spirit took me up, and I heard behind me a voice of a great rushing, saying, blessed be the glory of the Lord Yahweh from his place. And I'm going to just skip to the point, another point, so 3 and 16 now in Ezekiel says, and it came to pass at the end of the 7 days that the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth and give the warning from me. Alright, so this is why we're supposed to do this. Alright, it says, when I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. Yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. You know, so the point is right there. That's the job, man. Right, let's go back to Ezekiel 34. Yeah. And in fact, it's like there was something else I wanted to get real quick, because I was mentioning, you know, where is it? About how, you know, when you're out there, this word cuts people, man. Spiritually, they don't understand it, but we do. So Hebrews 4:12 says, what's this? For the word of the Most High Yahweh is quick and powerful, and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and to the joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. So basically, the scriptures, man, have a way of cutting you, because you're always bound to hear something that relates to the bullshit that you're doing. Alright? Even us in this truth, man, sometimes, you're doing shit, or you're not doing things you're supposed to be doing. Could be either way. And all of a sudden, you go on the old YouTube, and a brother's put up a video, and that video is for you, man. That video is for you, because you need to hear something, because you ain't doing something right, or maybe you're doing something right, and it's to exalt you. So don't run away from those, man. When you see that video that pops up that's cutting you, get cut. It's healing, man. It's just a healing. So back in Ezekiel 34. I'll read this again. So the disease ye have not strengthened, neither have ye healed that which was sick. Neither have ye bound up that which was broken, neither have ye brought up again that which was driven away, neither have ye sought that which was lost, but with force and with cruelty have ye ruled them. And that reminds me of that particular verse reminds me of a man that used to be a head of a camp, and to be his name came up after camp yesterday when the brothers were just chilling out and whatnot, and it was his name was Yoradan, and he was the head of the Atlanta camp, man. And this man was he was an exceptional speaker and teacher, man. He knew all the precepts. He knew he cutting people left, right and centre, like we just read in Hebrews 4:12, man. But the problem was that behind the scenes he was being wicked, man. He's being wicked. I won't do a video on this anyway, but he was being wicked to his own, the men under him, man. So he was ruling over his men with cruelty. I'm not going to get into all the stuff that was going on, but that's the fact of the matter, man. Anyway, let's read on. But that just goes to show you as well that, a man that's so slick with the scriptures, man, doesn't necessarily mean that he's a good man, or a man of the Lord, I should say. Verse 6 says, my sheep. Verse 5 says, and they were scattered because there is no shepherd, and they became meat to all the beasts of the field when they were scattered. Yeah, because guidance, we needed guidance, man, because we're under the curses, man, and it's in captivity still, right? So these other nations are basically feasting upon us, man. So we need that knowledge in order to know who we're dealing with, who our enemies are, and how to get out of this mess, right? That we're in. Verse 6 says, my sheep wandered through all the mountains, and upon every high hill, yea, my flock was scattered upon all the face of the earth, and none did search or seek after them. Therefore, ye shepherds, hear the word of the Lord. As I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, surely because my flock became a prey, and my flock became meat to every beast of the field, because there was no shepherd, neither did my shepherds search for my flock, but the shepherds fed themselves and fed not my flock. Yeah, there's cases of that, man. These guys out here that are running organizations, really, they're just churches now, IUIC, getting money off the flock, however they're getting it, selling them stuff, selling them, they used to sell breakdowns. I'm not going to say they still do that because I don't know, but they did. They used to do, starter packs. Israelite starter packs, man. They're selling them. I bet you they're selling them garments that they wear. I bet you when you come in, you have to buy that purple. The brother Ariel calls them the purple people, man. I bet you have to buy one of them purple garments, man. But I don't just give them out. We make our own, and brothers make them for each other, man. That's how it is over here. Verse 9 says, therefore, O ye shepherds, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I am against the shepherds. Right? He's against them, man. Where was I? And I will require my flock at their hand, and cause them to cease from feeding the flock. Neither shall the shepherds feed themselves any more, for I will deliver my flock from their mouth, that they may not be meat for them. So that's why these guys, man, yeah, like the Yorodans and the what's his name he was in the Chicago camp, Nazarias, the Yorodans and Nazarias, and who else is there? You know, there's other guys out there, I can't really remember. Them guys like them, you know, and the thing about it, what the guys I'm talking about, they're all proud, man. You know what I mean? They're all proud, man. Verse 11 says, for thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I, even I, will both search my sheep and seek them out, as a shepherd seeketh out his flock in the day that he is among his sheep that are scattered. So will I seek out my sheep, and will deliver them out of all places where they have been scattered in the cloudy and dark day. It says, and I will bring them out from the people and gather them from the countries, and I will bring them to their own land and feed them upon the mountains of Israel, by the rivers, and in all the inhabited places of the country. I will feed them in good pasture, and upon the high mountains of Israel shall their fold be. They shall lie in a good fold, and in a fat pasture shall they feed upon the mountains of Israel. I will feed my flock, and I will cause them to lie down, saith the Lord Yahweh. I will seek. I'm just quickly going through, just going to get some more precepts. But I'll make this the last bit on this one, on this chapter. It says, I will seek that which was lost, and bring again that which was driven away, and will bind up that which was broken, and will strengthen that which was sick. But I will destroy the fat and the strong. I will feed them with judgment. So yeah, it's the fat and the strong. That's them guys, man. Them guys that are basically taking a piss and taking advantage of the men that are around them, and not doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is feeding the sheep, man. Yeah, they're feeding themselves. What was it now? Yeah, the parable of the good shepherd. It says, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name, and leadeth them out. And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. And a stranger will they not follow, but will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers. This parable spake Yahushua unto them, but they understood not what things they were which he spake unto them. Then Yahushua said unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. By me If any man enter, he shall be saved, and go in and out and find pasture. Right? And because you got a lot of these guys out there now teaching. This guy's teaching that Yahushua, there is no. They don't even believe in Yahushua. Some of them, man. Them Old Testament dudes that don't even understand that Yahushua is mentioned in the Old Testament. Right? Verse 10 says, "The thief cometh not but for to steal, to kill, and destroy. And to destroy, I am come that they might have a life, and that they might have it more abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep." And that's why it says that we have to sacrifice our bodies as a living sacrifice, man. Present our bodies as a living sacrifice, because this is not an easy thing to do. Being out there is dangerous, right? Excuse me. It's like it, but I'm not saying that we're on Yahushua's level, man, because he did the most. He went up on that cross for this, man. You know what I mean? In order for us to be doing what we're doing now. Verse 12. See, verse 12 says, "But he that is an hireling, and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, seeth the wolf coming, and leaveth the sheep, and fleeth. And the wolf catcheth them, and scattereth the sheep. The hireling fleeth, because he is an hireling, and careth not for the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and I know my sheep, and I am known of mine. As the Father knoweth me, even so I the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep." But yeah, that's the point made on that. But let's just get one more. Let's get one more. So Jeremiah 3:14 says, "Turn, O backsliding children, saith the Lord Yahweh, for I am married unto you. And I will take you, one of a city, and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion, and I will give you pastors according to my heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding." Right? Simple. That's the job, man. That is the job. Where are we now for Jeremiah 3? Right, Jeremiah, I'll make this the last one, Jeremiah, because I made the point. Jeremiah 10 and 20 says, "My tabernacle is spoiled, and all my cords are broken. My children are gone forth of me, and they are not. There is none to stretch forth my tent any more, and to set up my curtains." Right, because the Lord's talking about the lack of spreading the knowledge, man. They're doing the work. Verse 21 says, for the pastors are become brutish. They have not sought the Lord Yahweh, therefore they shall not prosper, and their flock shall be scattered. So that's just dealing with these. You're going to see that, man. When it comes down to the nitty gritty, you're going to see all the followers of the IUIC, the ISUBKs, the GOCCs, the Sakaris, all these guys out there, the HOIs, they're going to scatter, man. They're going to scatter like rats, because they're going to realize that they've been hoodwinked, they've been fooled, bamboozled, man, into believing what these guys are selling. Notice how all them upper camps, they always get together, but we don't get together with them, man, because we're not on that. Because we don't believe what they're saying. We don't agree with what they're saying, man. I can talk together unless they be agreed, man. We don't agree with you, man, because you ain't doing it right. And that's not pride talking, that's just facts. And that shows you how sottish our people are, because they'll follow after the ones that are trendy, not the ones that are just giving it to you raw. Pause. Anyway, with that, I'm going to close out, man. All one is edifying. I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushai, B'Hashem Ruach HaKodesh. And as always, double honor to the apostles and the elder bishops of greatness who will words taught us his truth. To everyone, to all the sincere shalom, amen.